So today we are going to discuss about the feature writing, and firstly we will start from its introduction that what is feature writing. Basically a feature is a long piece of writing than a news story. Features come in a many different types and we are widely used in a magazines, newspapers and online. A feature will often cover an issue in greater depth than a news story would do. It might be looked at an ongoing story from a different angle. Now we have a hard news in the future and we have a soft news in the future. First of all, what is a hard news? Hard news basically refers to the news stories that have a big impact at the society as a whole and need to be reported urgently. Similarly, soft news, on the other hand, refers to the stories that provide other background information about world events, human interest stories, or event news. Basically, hard news relates the circumstances of a recent event or incident considered to be of general, local, regional, national, or international significance. They are factual stories with data concerning events that are potentially available to analysis. I'm giving you an example that it includes a news on politics, crime, economic, international affairs, and natural calamities and riots, etc. He or it will be a leads put all the important information into the first paragraph known as the lead. This usually includes the who, what, where, when and why of the story. Hard news articles or features hard news articles and features basically are written so the reader can stop reading at any time and still come away with the whole story. There is no need to put a conclusion on a news story. The most important information is presented at the top and the least important at the bottom. In another hand, soft news basically it defined as information that is primarily entertaining or personally useful, communicated through form of soft media. Soft news is usually contained in outlets that primarily serves as sources of entertainment such as television programs, magazines or print articles and features. It also focusing on the more entertaining, shocking or scandalous aspects of politics. Soft news offers these people an alternative that maximizes their utility because it combines entertainment and information also. In the soft news, we will include the sports journalism, entertainment journalism, and celebrity coverage also. It also delays that telling the reader what the story is about by teasing the reader with a description of a storytelling approach as in the previous example. That is, softly you might tell the reader the point of the story in their nutgraph. Breaking news that happened yesterday or today also lends itself to a hard news lead. I'm also telling you that soft news is something that is a pleasant to touch and is easy to mold, shape, change, or a compress. Soft can also be used to describe someone or something that is calm and gentle. With the help of example, I am describing you that something that would be described as soft is a feather pillow, smooth or fine to be touched, a soft fabric of softness. In this, that hard news is interesting. It also concerns the important matters. Similarly, soft news is deal with the human interest and its interesting matters. So similarly, soft news concerns the interesting matters. Now, structure of the hard news and soft news is in the structure of the hard news and the soft news stories that first of all we will discussing the headlines from starting and lead and the body and the tail. That is the least important. First of all, the headline is usually a small space that should fulfill its purpose of conveying the general message of your story. The headline needs to remain informational but can also be witty to attract the attention. Puns are popular in the newspaper headlines, whereas the theme of the article should be taken into consideration between using puns. Now the lead is the most important thing which we can easily understand about the whole story. First of all, the lead is said to be the most important part of the news story. It is the first sentence of the story and should summarize the news to the readers with the help of who, what, where, when, why, and how. This should focus on essential and factual information. The reader should be able to understand the story being told through the first and second sentence. So it must remain the short, to the point and the concise manner. Basically, the next is the body, that a mid part of the structure. The body of the article focuses on the areas that needs elaborating. This consists of explaining in more detail when, how, and why in the incident took place. Last step, that is the least important, that is the tail. Because the tail of the article or a feature positions the background information about an event and company or a person relative to their situation. The tail can basically be said to be less newsworthy as it is not the vital information, but further provides the reader with information around the topic. Quotes are also said to go here to express both sides of a story and prevent bias. It is important to remember that a hard news stories follow a practice formula. Unlike opinion piece, interviews and soft news stories. Always we take a look at the hard news organizations for a guidelines such as the BBC or Sky News if you need the reassurance. Remember, you should have always remember to have short paragraph and sentence to remain to the point. Now is the feature writing. What is a feature writing? Basically, feature writing is a creative journalism because it escapes the hard news format, allowing the creative writers among us to write a feature article in an inventive and compelling way. Unlike short and to the point news articles, feature articles deal with the subject in a greater depth and usually at a greater length. Features are more in depth than traditional news stories and go beyond providing the most important facts. The purpose of these stories is to provide a detailed description of a place, person, idea, or organization. A feature can also increase a client or company's visibility and even help find a new key audiences. You must already combine the rigors of factual reporting with their creative freedom with the help of the short story writing. In this, we can also include the news features, profiles, sport features, trend stories, live ins. It can also be found in the main news sections of a newspaper, especially if people or a profile or a person or group currently in their news. Basically, feature story is a piece of non-fiction writing about the news. A feature story is a type of the soft news. The main subtypes are the news feature and the human interest story. A feature story is distinguished from other types of non-news by their quality of the writing. I'm also telling you that a good writer begins by finding the right audience for their work before developing the content. We have to develop a strong angle of language. We have to keep it with the factual things. We have to provide it the added values of the feature writing, and we have to edit it all the things. In this, reader would have to read the whole stories to understand it. We have some learn basically points that the importance of detail, finding a theme or focus, establishing setting and character, using dialogues and actions in the feature writing, and also using the description or descriptive languages, similes or the metaphors. We have the best functions feature writing, that is being when we are starting the feature article, or at least we have to using the 500 words in the length. The editor may decided that they need something a bit shorter due to a page layout. Also, don't be surprised if some of your feature end up being a 2000 words or a more. If we are talking about the functions, that in the functions they are factual and require reporting. They may or may not be timely. They may be written in any form and style, and they also rarely have news leads, and they have to permit the reporter to use his or her language in Ingeti to write a story original in their ideas and their treatments. In this, the feature story serves the purpose of entertaining the reader in addition to information them, although the truthful and based on good facts. They are less objective than straight news. Unlike the straight news, the subject of a feature story is usually not time sensitive. In this, often longer than the traditional news stories, we also the present on the opinionated views, basically the profile or the personality features that give insight into a person's role, experience or a background are one type of the feature. Among the most common subjects of the profiles are celebrities, athletes, individuals who overcomes the challenges, and high profiles executive. Because it is important to understand the circumstances that warrant a feature piece from a strategic communication perspective. Communication professionals write feature articles to provide in-depth exposure for their client or organization, because a feature can increase a client or company's visibility and even help find new key audiences. If you need to quickly get information about your client or organization to the media, then feature article may not be the best tool, because it is a typical is longer than the traditional news stories. Overall, feature articles are use an informative tone while incorporating the creative and descriptive devices in order to increase the audience appeal. I'm giving you example that feature article from the New York Times. In this, we can humanize to add the color, some education, entertainment, and illuminates in the feature writing. We also the present some extra things with the help of our opinion in the feature writing, and we have to advance the journalism courses focused on writing non-fiction, non-opinion articles just for informational news media such as a newspaper, magazines, newsletters, trade journals, and internet sites. Basically, magazines, newspapers, and online sites must provide their readers with content in the form of the well-researched, well-written feature articles. That what followers can proven process of researching, writing, and submitting professional Feature articles the meet editors' needs and enhance your reputation as a writer. We can start with the choose a topic. Firstly, when we start to write the feature story, then we have to choose a topic that is something you have a burning desire to what about or a particular publication you want to write for. Once you have decided on your subject, and the next step is to establish your premises. Like what is the point of your article and feature? What is your working theme? What should be able to sum it up in a sentence or two? Because to compete in an increasing, complex, changing environment, may how firms across the country are exploring a revolutionary new strategy. Next one is the research. Basically, when we are trying for research for a better news story, we have reinformed and expanded your hypothesis. It reveals that you are not on the wrong track and need to start over. In this, its early stages, research provides enough information to help you the block out the article, the feature, write a conveniencing query later. Next one is the draft your query letter. First paragraph is your introduction. If you tell the editor that who you are, why you are writing and the subject of your proposed article. In the second paragraph, focuses on the editor's need and right if you must know the general editorial policy and their publications. In the third paragraph, you have to briefly describe the content and appropriateness of your feature and article. That what would you want their information. In the fourth subject and paragraph, explain why you are unquarily qualified to write this piece. How much do you know about this subject and how will do you understand the aims of the publications and your features also. And the final paragraph is a very short. It is your close, your action statement in which you will do the next and you will call at a certain time to do. Next was is the types of the feature writing. First is the personality feature. In the personality feature, we will properly detail on the well-known personality. It is a more specialized type of the human interest feature because people are curious about other people. It is a human nature. Because personality feature, also known as a profile, is an in-depth look at a person's lifestyle, characteristics, emotions, hobbies, appearances, or just what makes a person traits. In this, we have a characteristics way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Because personality embarrasses the mood, attitudes, and opinion and is the most clearly expressed in interactions with other people. Next one is the human interest stories. Human interest stories basically that kind of stories in which the human and discuss the people or a pets in an emotional way. It presents the people and their problems, concerns, or achievement in a way that brings about the interest, sympathy, or motivation in readers or a viewer. Next one is the trend stories. Trend stories basically are that kind of stories in which we examine the people, things, or organizations that are having an impact on society. Trend stories are popular because people are excited to read or hear about the latest fads. It also used to be a subsection of the journalism reserved for the light feature like a fashions, television shows, emotions, sympathetic interest, and fashion, food, and so on. Next one is the analysis. Analysis stories where we measurement the various qualities and quantitative attributes of the textures. Expressing the news stories are number and metadata permits the manipulation of the everyday information in a mathematical and strategical way. We have a types of features in which the interview article, practical guidance, sessional, entertainment article, travelogue, personality sketch, and the interpretative feature. How we can choose before writing a feature? Firstly, writing in the underlining idea behind an article or a story that unfinds its words into the coordinate words. A strong, well-defined theme enables the reader to see the deeper meaning in your story and the intention behind your words and the motivation for a writing. In this, we have to know about the story of the interest about the readers. We have a holding parts. We have to make the story worthy, and the theme would be the answer and question. So what? First is this, that humans are naturally free and society restricts that freedom. Human nature is naturally weak and society must protect us from our animal instinct. You can't grow powerful without your share of secrets. Good triumphs over evil in the end. You have to seek the universal things. You have to choose that kind of theme that sticks with your reader. Start with the another story elements. You have to create an outlets. You have to know about the wave your themes throughout the narratives and include the multiple themes, like don't limit yourself. We have substances of the features, that we have to know about the facts, some quotes, descriptions, anecdotes, opinion, analysis, and the conclusion also. We have some samples about the feature stories. First of all, foreign exchange students, unusual hobbies, favorite trends, celebrities, features, foods, jobs, and so on. This is a feature story structure. Then we have to start from the beginning with the help of the lead. Then middle part of the story, we also call them the body and explain the whole 5 W's and 1 H. And end part of the story is the least important, and we also call them a lead because it's bring the reader to a close. In the lead, that is the most important. It is the first paragraph, even the third paragraph. It entices your readers and the hooks. It uses the drama, quotes, questions, suspense, and so on. Firstly, in the lead, we have to gaining the attention and getting the devices with the help of brief story, prevent or describe the screen, some unusual statements, and even either historical current, like use a quotes, edge or proverb, some riddle, some dialogue, and onomatopoeia. So a controversy or contradiction. So basically, this example was given by the Pulitzer Prize winning by Andrea Elliott of the New York Times. They told that if dressed in a crisp polo shirt and sweater in the call, he races his insane M axiom through the rain slick stress of M and either Tal Granite. This is Edward Wrong of the New York Times Business Bureau. They are giving us some example that baby died on the May 1st in the hospital just into 2 weeks after the first synopsis appeared. This is the types of leads to avoid. Tweet dictionary lead. We have to avoid these things while writing the feature. Dumb declarative leads and the mystery it lead, where the linkage and the typical lead, the uniformative question lead, we have to compare. That's it. That 21 teachers from across northern Luzon gathered at the University of Baguio February 28 to learn the techniques used for teaching writing. We can also compare this, that teacher John de la Cruz cried as he composed a poem about his grandmother. at the keyboard of a Macintosh computer in the basement of the University of Daegu Level Arts Building recently. We have some different kinds of techniques in which we can write the lead for the feature also. In the body, we have to gist of the story. We have a longest part and the keep it fresh. And there are specific examples. Some important components we have to include in the body, that is the background information, thread, dialogue, voices, and feature writing conclusion, that is. When we wind up the story, we have to wrap up the story with the comeback to the lead, often with the quotation or the surprising climaxes. And we have to, unlike the hard news stories, in the feature needs in ending. With the help of end, we have to use the comment, including quotes, questions, summary of the article. We have to pre-writing, writing, revising, and proofreading if we are seriously want that our feature article or editorial will clearly understandable or eye-catchy. This is the pre-writing steps, that finding the story, gathering the information, determining the type of the feature, and choosing the single focus. We have to drafting the lead, body, conclude, headlines, and we have the many good writing techniques. We have to check it firstly. I hope you all are clear about the feature writing concept. Thank you so much.